Welcome to the Stepmom Side with Alicia, the podcast for stepmoms ready to create the life they want and one they actually have a say in. Here we talk all things stepmom life and just a little bit more. Leave the superficial conversations at the door and get ready for perspective shifts and actionable advice to help you on your way to creating the life you want, one step at a time. Hey there, welcome back to the Stepmom Side Podcast. I'm Alicia, your host, and this week we're going to continue on the topic of back to school stuff. Actually, you know what? The next couple of weeks are going to be back to school stuff because if you're not back to school, guess what? You're going to be back to school here very, very soon. This one, school events where your partner's ex will be there and like how we as stepmoms can handle the awkwardness really hits close to home because even though in our situation things were pretty amicable, I still really, really struggled with that. Still really struggled with, do I go? Do I not go? Do we sit together? Do we not sit together? At what point do we do something different because it's making all of us crazy? So without further ado, let's get into it because today we're going to be talking about, like I said, those school events where you know that your stepkids' mom's going to be there. And it could be an open house, it could be parent-teacher conferences, it could be school concerts, award ceremonies, sporting events, plays, graduations, which, we've already passed graduation season at this point, classroom parties, dance recitals, all of the things. What are we going to do? I'm starting to sweat just talking about it. But all of the events that are supposed to be about supporting the kid or the children, but can somehow leave us as stepmoms wondering, where am I supposed to sit? Should I sit with my partner and the kid's mom? Should we arrive together? Am I supposed to talk to her? And I know that this is a really hard thing for a lot of stepmoms. Should I talk to her? Do I talk to her? Do I not talk to her? And then what if she ignores me? What if my partner acts differently when she is around? Have you had this happen? When you and your partner are together and everything's fine, and then all of a sudden, the kid's mom is around. Is around. I'm like, does that sound weird? Is around, and then your partner acts differently. Then what? Do I even belong at parent-teacher conferences? Will everyone or anyone think I'm overreacting or overstepping if I attend? Will they think I do not care if I stay home? And how long do I have to stand here pretending to be deeply interested in the refreshment table? How many times have you done that? Been at an event and your stepkids' moms have been there and you're just wow, look at the painting on the wall. This is such a pretty color. And you're deeply studying it. Or you're wow, look at the ceiling tiles. If you're at school, you know. So here's the thing. School events can activate every single insecurity a stepmom has about her place in the family. You can feel completely secure in your marriage, walk into one school auditorium, see your stepkids' mom and her extended family, and suddenly feel like you've been dropped into someone else's family reunion without a name tag. Tell me that you have never felt that, because I will tell you, yes. So if this happens to you, I just want to let you know, it does not automatically mean that you're jealous. It doesn't automatically mean that you're insecure, immature, or as I hear what a lot of stepmoms say that their partners say, you're just creating drama. No, it does not mean that you are automatically creating drama. It may mean the situation is genuinely uncomfortable. Listen, let's just be completely clear here. You are walking into a space where your partner and your stepkids' mom have already had shared history. They may know the teachers. They may know the other parents and all of the extended family members. She knows your partner's family members. Your partner knows her family members. They have attended events together before. They share children, memories, and relationships that existed way before you ever arrived or were even a twinkle in anyone's eye. Yay, welcome. So you may care deeply about your stepchildren while also feeling very, very, very insecure about your role at the event. Both things here, my friend, both things can be absolutely true. So today we're going to talk about why school events can feel so emotionally loaded for stepmoms, the common mistakes that make the experience harder, listen in on that part, and what you and your partner can do before, during, and after the event. We're also going to talk about when it may make sense to sit together,
when separate seating may actually be healthier, how to handle awkward conversations or interactions, and how to decide whether or not you even attend at all. And here's the thing I want you to hear. You don't have to attend every single thing. And if you don't attend every single thing, that does not mean that you are a terrible stepmom. Please hear me on that. So because there's not one correct way for every single blended family to attend a school concert, you do not need to receive extra blended family points for forcing everyone into one row when the arrangement makes every person in that row completely miserable. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into it. Why school events feel so different for stepmoms. From the outside, attending a school event seems very simple. You show up, you support the child, you clap, yay, good job. You take on a reasonable number of slightly blurry pictures, or you're trying to zoom in and whatever. And then you leave. But a stepmom, you already know, right? You're a stepmom. We are often managing much more beneath the surface. We might be asking ourselves, where do I even fit in? We might be watching how our partner responds to the ex. We might be wondering whether the children even want her there. We also might be worried that the children's mom believes that she's overstepping. We also might be deciding whether to introduce ourselves to teachers, parents, or other extended family members. It's so freaking awkward. It's so uncomfortable. Everything feels like it's under a microscope, right? We might be monitoring our expressions so no one can accuse us of looking uncomfortable, right? There's nothing worse than standing there with this smile plastered on your face and trying not to be I hope this thing doesn't look fake. This is where with coaching clients that I've got, please practice. What does my face look like? And if I think that it looks neutral, I need to look in the mirror, because I can promise you my face is not neutral. There's no neutrality about this face at all. I promise. We also might be wondering or trying to take up as little space as possible while hoping someone notices that we belong. That's a lot of emotional work for a 2-hour band concert. And then also we're doing this in a 30-minute parent-teacher conference if you go to that, or any sort of sporting event, or if you go to a dance recital. I see you. So school events can bring outsider syndrome to the surface because your role is often undefined. The parents' role, those are usually very clear. Their mom is their mom. Your partner is their parents, is the dad. Your role may be very important, but it doesn't come with the same universally understood script. So some of us are deeply involved in the day-to-day parenting. We might help with homework, transition, routines, school supply shopping, appointments, and emotional support. Then we arrive at a public event and feel as though all of that involvement becomes completely invisible. At home, you might be one of the people keeping the entire system running. At the school, you may suddenly feel like dad's wife. That contrast can hurt. Absolutely. I see you. I hear you. I get it. I have literally heard my stepkids say, even before we were married, oh, that's my dad's girlfriend, or oh, that's my dad's fiance, or oh, that's my dad's wife. But then I've also heard them say, that's my stepmom, or that's my parents. So, you know how we sometimes are well, it depends on the day on how I introduce them. The kids feel the same way. But still, that contrast can hurt. That pain is not always about wanting to replace their mom, because honestly, most of us as stepmoms, we don't want to do that. It's often about just wanting our actual relationship and contribution to just be acknowledged. We want to know that there's also room for us too. I'm going to give you, I'm starting to sweat about this too, but I'm going to give you a little bit of experience that I've had with not knowing where I fit in. Because the uncertainty of being a stepmom is the hardest part. And I've definitely experienced this uncertainty myself. I've attended school events where their mom was present. I've had to decide where to sit. I've had to decide how to navigate awkward interactions, how to be around extended family members, and how to deal with moments where I felt ignored or displaced. And sometimes I noticed that my husband would act differently when their mom was around. Not he was pining for her or whatever, but it's just everyone is on edge. And now I can look back and be oh, you know what? He was probably on edge because I was on edge. And if you understand why someone's behavior changes in an uncomfortable situation, or even if you understand it, that doesn't mean that it feels good when it happens. So just to give you a brief recap, sporting events specifically, I can think back to like when my stepson was playing football and we used to all sit together. Here's how awkward it was, okay? It would be, I'm going to put me last. My husband and his parents, the kids' mom, her parents, her husband, his parents, sometimes like a sibling or two, and then me. And we'd all be sitting together. And everyone has someone there for them, some support, but me. I'm there by myself, like, hey, I'm not here. I'm not from here. My family doesn't live here. So it was super awkward, and I was trying to figure out, like, where I fit in as a stepmom, but it was exasperating. It was that much harder to figure out, like, where I fit in when I'm going to these sporting events and, like, we're all smashed together like one big happy family. Not that I hate my stepkids' mom. I absolutely don't. Like, she's wonderful. Like, I actually like her. But I don't want to go and, like, sit at sporting events when I feel awkward. Like, now I wouldn't care. Like, we've done things over the years much later together, and here's why. Because it was something that I couldn't do anymore. I felt like I was suffocating on, like, a nice, cool fall day watching football. I felt like I was being smothered, and I was just like, I can't do this. Like, my anxiety was crazy. I had heart palpitations. I was just like, oh my God, I can't do this. Like, this is crazy. And my husband was like, what's wrong? Like, why does this feel so weird? And I'm like, unless you're a stepmom, like, you don't get it. Like, you don't understand, right? And so then finally, after like a lot of wailing and gnashing of teeth, I was like, we just can't sit together anymore. So then we didn't. And it wasn't like there was like this massive fight. I felt so freaking awkward being like, we can't sit together, because there wasn't any sort of like falling out. But really what it was, if I'm completely honest with you, it was my insecurity. It was my imposter syndrome. It was my outsider syndrome. It was me. That was the reason why we couldn't sit together. I was like, I can't do this. Like, this is so awkward. This is so weird. I am new to the area. They all, like, especially since their mom is a teacher, like, she knew everyone. I didn't have any friends in the area. Do you know how hard it is to make friends as a stepmom? Of course you do. Like, you're here listening to this podcast. It's so freaking hard to make friends as a stepmom. And yeah, all of the things, like, I could go on and on and on about this for days, but all of the things, like, it's so awkward. And so my husband was like, fine, we won't sit together. And then we didn't. And then much later on, like, we could sit together. But it was just, yeah, in the early years, it was really awkward. I don't think we actually sat together again until, like, my stepdaughter graduated high school. And, like, we had her graduation party here at our house. But it was super weird, too, because then we were sitting separately. And my mother-in-law would, like, go and sit with her for a while and then come back. The whole thing is just weird. Like, the whole thing is just weird. So let's go back to, like, talking about your partner and, like, them being uncomfortable. Like, you might notice that your partner is becoming quieter, more distant, overly accommodating, nervous, or hyper-focused on avoiding conflict. Maybe your partner's trying to keep the peace. Maybe they're slipping back into an old communication pattern. This is something that used to, like, really piss me off because I could, like, see it and I'm like, oh my God, you guys aren't married anymore. It doesn't matter. Then I'm like, okay, take your own advice, Alicia. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But it makes you crazy, right? These are the kinds of things that we work through in coaching. So if you're like, oh my gosh, back to school is coming, I need help with this, please come see me. And if you're a member inside the Stepmom Side community, you get 20% off coaching. Don't forget. Maybe your partner's so worried about what their ex will do that they stop paying attention to what you need. And if you're in a high conflict situation, absolutely, that's exactly what's happening. But whatever the reason, the impact on you as the stepmom can be the same. You feel as though your partner disappears right when you need to feel like you guys are a team. I chose not to attend any parent-teacher conferences because it felt weird. I didn't know where I fit in. Remember I told you the kid's mom, teacher? Yeah. So would my presence be helpful? Would it feel like overstepping? Did the teacher know who I was? Would their mom be uncomfortable? Would I just sit there silently? Would I be expected to contribute something? And then be told that I'm overstepping, or just looked at like you're just the freaking stepmom, like what do you know? And I'm 16 years younger than both of them. So like there's all of these things that are like running through my head. And I was like, you know what? I'm just not going. Because instead of having a clearly defined role, I was left trying to interpret a situation That did not come with instructions. So that's why I'm glad that you're here listening to the podcast, downloading for your resources, and not just trying to navigate this on your own. Because a lot of stepmoms do this. They avoid the event. Not because they don't care, but because they don't know whether there's a comfortable space for them. And I get that. Then we might feel guilty for not attending. That is why these conversations need to happen before the event, okay? So, as a stepmom, you shouldn't have to stand in the school parking lot trying to determine your place in the family 5 minutes before a conference. Like, let's not do that. One of the biggest mistakes I see couples making is waiting until they arrive to discuss what will happen. Now, here's what's really happening behind the scenes. As the stepmom, we are running scenario A through Z, and we've got contingency plans for everything. But maybe your partner's been like, you're overreacting, you're creating drama, you are insert whatever, and you're just like, fine, I won't say anything, and we'll just see what happens. So then your partner assumes everyone will sit together. You assume we're all sitting separately. Their mom saves seats. Your partner's parents arrive and create another layer of confusion. Are they sitting with you guys, or are they sitting with the ex? No one knows who's entering with whom. And now you're standing in an auditorium in the aisle where everyone silently waits for someone else to make a decision. So fun. So awkward. So like, oh my gosh, let me like crawl out of my skin. Blah. So let's talk about the event beforehand. Ask your partner, who's attending? Maybe they know, maybe they won't. Will their mom be bringing anyone? Will your extended family be there? Are we arriving together? Are we planning to sit with their mom or separately? What feels most comfortable for both of us? And sometimes that's very different. Maybe your partner is like, we can sit with her, I don't care. And you're like, absolutely not. You're like, Team Alicia, like, absolutely not. Like, totally get that. What are we expected to do for like interaction? How much interaction are we going to do? What will we do if the plan changes? Is there anything about this particular event that may create tension? What support do I need from you? What support do you need from me? Okay, I want to remind you of something because you are a stepmom. This does not need to become a 3-hour strategy session. You're not preparing for an international summit, but a 10-minute conversation can prevent so much anxiety for you, for your partner. We can't control like any anxiety that everyone else has, but it can just prevent so much anxiety for everyone. Should divorced parents and step-parents sit together at school events? That is probably one of the questions stepmoms most frequently ask me towards the beginning of the school year. Should everyone sit together at school events? My answer is, it completely depends. I don't believe every blended family needs to sit together. You know, when you see like the jerseys that are matching and everyone sits together, we're one big happy family, we're sharing snacks. If that's your family, that's great. I don't think we should mislead people and be like, that's the goal. No, that is not the goal. Maybe you and your partner have gone to therapy. Maybe you've done coaching. Maybe you've gotten all the help and the other parties have not. Now, notice I said parties. Like, it's not just, I'm not blaming somebody here, but like there's a lot of growth and emotional maturity that needs to be had on all sides. And if only a few people are doing it, it doesn't work. Like, we can't be all sitting together like kumbaya, one big happy family. So if everyone can sit together comfortably, respect each other, and keep the focus on the child, great. That might work out beautifully for you. But separate seating can also be the healthiest choice. Remember, our situation, like everything was pretty amicable, but I was really struggling. And I'm like, I can't do this. I feel like I'm dying. Like, for me, the healthiest thing was to sit separate. Even though everyone was totally fine, like, we need to sit separately. I just want to be clear on this. Sitting separately does not automatically mean that the adults are immature, high conflict, or failing at co-parenting. Okay? Sitting separately does not automatically mean that the adults are immature, high conflict, or failing at co-parenting. Sometimes separate seating reduces tension. Sometimes it may allow everyone to relax and enjoy the event. That would be me. It may prevent awkward interactions too. Like, how much do we sit here and talk to her? How much does she sit here and talk to us? Do we talk to her extended family? Do they talk to us? Do we not? Like, we're just sitting here We're all sitting in the same row together, but like no one's talking to each other. That's so weird. It also might protect you as the stepmom from feeling trapped beside someone who ignores you or mistreats you. Regardless, like in that situation, like I just talked about, like how, you guys aren't talking to each other. But outside of that, like if you have a high conflict situation and, the mom ignores you or is not nice to you, to be like very generic, maybe causes your life hell, like, do you really want to feel trapped sitting next to her or her family? Probably not. It also may prevent the child from spending the entire event monitoring the adult's body language. Those kids can see it. Even if they're on stage, they can see the plastered on faces. Kids see so much more than we give them credit for. A peaceful event and separate sections, please hear me, is so much healthier than a miserable performance of togetherness in one row. The decision, just so you know, you're not locked into this, the decision can also change depending on the event. You might feel comfortable sitting together at a large outdoor sporting event, but not at an intimate classroom presentation. You may sit together at graduation, but separately during weekly games. That makes sense to me. Graduation is like a big event. It's like a one-time thing. Weekly games, repeated exposure, not always the best thing. We're not going to die by 1,000 cuts here. You may also share a row when the relationship is calm and choose more distance when there's recently been conflict. Decide event by event, case by case. Totally fine. And things ebb and flow. What works today might not work tomorrow. And what works for one family, like I always say, may not work for another family. We can also ask, what arrangement will create the least tension? Can everyone behave respectfully? And these aren't like necessarily questions that we're asking our partner, but just like rhetorically. Will sitting together help the child? Or are we doing it to prove something? Like, are we doing it to like make it look like we're one big happy family? Okay, well then maybe we shouldn't be doing it. Will anyone feel trapped or excluded? Can we focus on the child if we're seating together? Will separate seating allow everyone to be more present? Meaning like we're not competing with each other for attention from the kid. There is no gold medal for most visually integrated blended family. Like, let me just tell you that now. Choose the arrangement that allows the adults in your situation to behave well and the child to enjoy the event. I can't even believe I'm having a podcast episode about like the adults behaving well, but welcome to blended family life. So now let's talk about this. What if your partner's ex ignores you? So your stepkid's mom. What if she ignores you? What if? All right, well, you know what? Let's talk about it. Because being ignored can feel humiliating, especially in front of teachers, extended family, or other parents. You say hello and receive no response. You're standing beside your partner while someone introduces everyone except you. Their mom only talks to your partner as if you're not even there. Or she acknowledges you only when she needs something. Listen. As a stepmom, we may start to spiral and we immediately wonder, what do we need to do? Should we try harder? Do we confront her? Should my partner say something to her? Should you ignore her back? Start by separating basic courtesy from emotional closeness. You don't need a warm relationship with their mom to attend the same event. You do not need to become friends. I know this is a crazy thing, like when you see like the matching jerseys, like, oh, look, they're all like close friends. We don't need to become friends. You don't need to force a conversation. You can offer a brief, polite greeting. Hi, how are you? Good to see you. Hi, everyone. That's how we can say hi to everyone without singling everyone out. Then, here's the hard part. Allow her response or lack of response to belong to her. You, my friend, you do not need to repeatedly audition for basic acknowledgement. If she ignores you, ground yourself in why you attended. You are there to support the child. Your place does not disappear because another adult refuses to recognize it. We don't owe her anything. She also doesn't owe us anything. We are there to support our stepchild. Having said that, though, this does not mean that the behavior doesn't hurt or can't hurt. It means that you do not have to chase her approval to prove that you belong. Your partner also plays an important role. If someone is introducing family members and excludes you, your partner can calmly introduce you. This is my wife, Alicia. If their mom speaks only to your partner about logistics that affect you, your partner can bring you into the conversation when appropriate. Alicia is handling pickup that day, so let's make sure she has the information. Your partner doesn't need to create a confrontation at the school event, but they also should not participating in pretending you are invisible. Like, we're not doing that. Like, we're all adults here. Like, I don't think they need to be like, Alicia's here, let's say hi you have to say hi to her. No, we're not doing that either. Like, no. But again, Alicia's handling pickup that day, so let's make sure she has the information. And whether that's, their mom sends the information directly to you, or their mom sends the information to your partner and then your partner sends it to you, whatever that looks like. Let's move on to when your partner acts differently around their ex. This is often the deeper issue. As a stepmom, we think that we're anxious because the ex will be there. But what we're really anxious about is how our partner behaves when the ex is present. Your partner might become distant. They may stop showing you affection. This is a big thing that I hear from stepmoms. They may walk ahead of you. They may exclude you from conversations. They may become overly friendly because they are trying to keep the peace. They may agree to something without consulting you. They may become defensive and tell you that you are imagining the shift, or you are overreacting, or you are just creating drama. If your partner consistently changes around their ex, discuss it when the ex is not present. Do not wait until you are angry in the school parking lot. And also be specific. Instead of saying, you act weird around her, try, at the last school event, you walked in with her while I was left behind. I felt excluded. At the next event, I would like us to arrive and enter together. Or when she came over to speak with you, you stopped including me in the conversation. I would like you to acknowledge me and make sure I understand plans that affect our household. Or I noticed that you avoided sitting beside me when she arrived. That made me feel as though our relationship needed to become less visible to make her more comfortable. Ooh, I see this a lot as a stepmom coach. I noticed that you avoided sitting beside me when she arrived. That made me feel as though our relationship needed to become less visible to make her more comfortable. Have you ever felt like that? I think that one's a real tough one. Or, I understand that you want to avoid conflict, but I need to know that we are still a team when she is present. So here's my reminder. Focus on the specific behavior, how it affected you, and what you need next time. Your partner, honestly, may not even realize that they're acting weird or doing something different. It's so weird to you, to me. They might not even notice it. Why? Old relationship dynamics can be powerful. People fall into familiar patterns without even consciously choosing them. It's kind of like if you go back to see your family and everyone treats you like, if you're like the baby and everyone treats you like the baby, or if, whatever, and you just fall into these patterns and you're like, it's fine, I'm only going to see them for this holiday, and you just like put up with it. Kind of the same thing here with your partner. So that explains the behavior though. Like, they might fall into like the patterns. They might not even like realize it. It explains the behavior, but it does not excuse refusing to address it. So your partner can be respectful towards their ex without emotionally abandoning you. They can prioritize the child without making you feel disposable. They can avoid unnecessary conflict without asking you to disappear. So now let's talk about what support looks like before an event. Support me is meaningful, yeah, right? Of course, support me, great. But it's also really vague, because what support looks like to you is very different than what it looks like to me, which is very different than what it looks like to your partner, to my partner, to whoever. Support looks very, very different. So your partner may believe that inviting you is them being supportive. You may need something way more specific. So before the event, decide what would help you feel grounded and included. Maybe you want your partner to arrive with you, sit beside you, introduce you to people you don't know, include you in conversations that affect your household, check in with you if the seating plan changes, show ordinary affection instead of becoming physically distant. This was a big thing for me. Excuse me, my voice just like sounded weird. This was a big thing for me, like showing ordinary affection instead of becoming physically distant, because I felt like then we were like on opposite, not opposite, but like just different planets, like different things that have happened. And I'm just like, okay, when we go to these events, here's what I need you to do. And it could be with or without my stepkids' mom being there. Or it could be like difficult conversations that we've had with the kids, or like a trip down memory lane with the kids, like pre-me, like just showing ordinary affection reminds me that like we're still on the same team. Like I just feel super awkward in those moments. So if you like affection, like just remind your partner, like showing ordinary affection instead of becoming physically distant is really, really helpful. Avoid agreeing to schedule changes without consulting you. Oof, yes, please. Leave with you. Ask how you're doing afterward. Choose 2 or 3 separate, like concrete requests. Here's the goal. The goal is to not make your partner responsible for regulating every emotion you experience. Okay? The goal is to help the 2 of you operate as a team in a situation that affects both of you. We are also going to ask your partner what support they need. They may feel anxious about conflict. They may be worried that the kid's going to be caught in the middle. They may need you to avoid addressing a sensitive issue during the event. Well, this is me. I'm like, oh, we have this going on. We need to address this. And he's like, no. Not now is not the time or the place. Now is a great time or place if you ask me. No, I've learned that it's not. We don't need to address every single thing that we're thinking about. They also might want the reassurance that you will tell them privately if something feels wrong. Both people can have needs, both of you, but healthy partnership is not one person swallowing everything so the other person never feels uncomfortable. I'm going to say that again for you, and then I'm going to tell you something. Healthy partnership is not one person swallowing everything so the other person never feels uncomfortable. Because here's the thing. If you are constantly swallowing everything, not cool. If your partner's swallowing everything, also not cool. We don't need your partner just to snowplow everything out of the way. There are going to be awkward conversations, awkward interactions, weird things done and said. Not that it's okay, but it's also part of this weird dynamic, this weird role that we find ourselves in as stepmoms. It's okay. Weird things are going to happen. Weird things still happen to me. On Father's Day, I was called the ex's name. My father-in-law was like reading his Father's Day card and read her name and my husband's name, even though I signed my name. And I'm like, are you kidding me? After all these years, can you read the card? The card says my name. Things are going to happen. Things are going to be weird. Things are going to be awkward. It doesn't mean it's the end of the world. It doesn't mean that you're failing. It doesn't mean that everyone hates you. It doesn't mean that you don't belong. But we don't swallow everything. And also we don't expect our partners to swallow every single thing. We get outside help. That's what we get, outside help. So what if extended family is going to be there? Extended family can make school events even more complicated. Grandparents, aunts, uncles, former in-laws, and new partners may all attend. Remember I told you the football game? Yay. Some family members, wink, wink, you already know, may still have a close relationship with your partner's ex. They might greet your stepkids' mom warmly and barely acknowledge you. They may talk about memories from before you joined the family. That's always fun. Ask me how I know. They may unintentionally or intentionally make you feel like the extra person. Before the event, just for your own sanity, ask who is expected to attend. Knowing what you're walking into can reduce the feeling of being blindsided. Also, if you're inside the Stepmom Side community, you can jump on office hours and be like, okay, I have this event coming up. Here's who's coming. Here's the backstory. What can I do to change how I'm going to show up? Or how can I prepare myself to not be like, oh, the benefit of being inside the Stepmom Side community. You can also decide how much interaction you're willing to have. You can be courteous without working the room like you're campaigning for office. Offer a greeting. Have a brief conversation if it feels appropriate. Then sit with the people who help you feel comfortable. And that might change too. Like some people might make you feel really comfortable, others, and then that same person, like after a while, it might not. So if your partner's relatives have a continuing relationship with your stepkids' mom, that relation does not automatically erase yours. Their history with her is not proof you do not belong. Again, ask me how I know. At the same time, though, your partner should notice when you are being excluded and make reasonable efforts to include you. Again, this doesn't require dramatic public confrontation. Sometimes inclusion looks like your partner moving closer to you, introducing you, bringing you into a conversation, or making sure you're not just left standing over in the corner of the parking lot by yourself. Small actions, small things can communicate. You're with me. You have a place here. So now let's talk about parent-teacher conferences. Like I've already kind of touched on this. Does a stepmom have to attend parent-teacher conferences? No. A stepmom does not have to attend every school function to prove she cares. Whether a stepmom should attend a parent-teacher conference depends on her role, the child's needs, the parent's preferences, school policies, and what works for that family. Ask, am I involved in homework and school routines? Would my perspective be useful? Do I even want to attend? Are the parents comfortable with my presence? Does the school allow or encourage my participation? Is it capped to like how many people can go? A big question. Will attending help the child or will it create unnecessary tension? That's a big thing for me, because if it's going to be helpful for one of my stepkids, I can suck it up and I can go. But if it's going to create unnecessary tension for them and I can see it, I'm out. Like, I'll be there to talk to you about it afterwards. Like, happy to chat with you about it. But I don't want to create unnecessary tension for them. Do I have a clear role in the meeting? Because some stepmoms, like, we attend conferences because we're deeply involved in the child's education. Others do not attend because the parents handle school decisions. Some receive the information from their partner afterwards, and that's fine. But all of the arrangements, whatever works for your family, all of the arrangements can be valid. So it's not a one-size-fits-all. Like, you have to go, you don't have to go, you need to show up and, like, actively participate. You need to go and just keep your mouth shut. Like, whatever works for your family, works for your family. The problem is not necessarily that a stepmom does or does not attend. The problem is when no one discusses it and we're left feeling as though either choice could be judged. And a lot of times that's how it is as a stepmom, right? Like, we're damned if we do, we're damned if we don't. If you want to attend, talk with your partner about why. If you do not want to attend, you're allowed to say that too. You can care about the child and still decide that a particular meeting is best handled by the parents. You are not required to insert yourself into every parenting space to prove that your relationship matters. Belonging, as a reminder, belonging does not require constant performance. So if you want to attend, obviously you know, like, all of the things, right? What we're going to do. But what if you do not want to attend? What if? And sometimes that feels weird. Sometimes we feel pressure that we have to attend. Maybe it's pressure from our partners. Maybe it's pressure from the kids. Maybe it's pressure from the other house. But what if we, like, genuinely don't want to attend? Sometimes that's the healthiest decision, is not to attend. Maybe the event reliably creates significant conflict. Maybe you guys are completely different on, like, education things. Maybe your relationship with your stepchild does not make your attendance appropriate. Maybe you guys aren't really close right now. Maybe you guys are having a really hard time. Well, let's not add insult to injury and go to parent-teacher conferences. Like, that's not good. Maybe the child has asked for a particular arrangement. Maybe they don't want you there. Maybe you don't feel emotionally safe. Again, maybe you guys have different educational goals or plans for your stepkids, and you and your partner think one thing, the other house thinks another, and you already know that it's going to be an attack, so you're just like, absolutely not. Maybe you're exhausted and don't want to spend another evening managing adult tension. Welcome. Maybe you've had a crazy week at work. Maybe you have already had plans with somebody that you've been trying to meet up with for months on end, and this is the only date that works. But before deciding, ask yourself this. Am I staying home because this is genuinely the healthiest choice? Or am I staying home because I believe I'm not allowed to take up space? Am I protecting my peace? Or am I abandoning myself to keep everyone else comfortable? There is a difference. Choosing not to attend can be a boundary. But repeatedly missing meaningful events because no one has helped create space for you may deepen that outsider syndrome, which is like a whole nother side of it. So if you want to attend but feel as though you can't, that, my friend, is a conversation to have with your partner. And here's what I would say. I want to support him or her, your stepchild, but I feel unsure about my place when everyone is there. Can we talk about what the event will look like and how we can attend as a team? Do not make the decision entirely from fear of what their mom might think. Her discomfort does not automatically determine your role. Her discomfort does not automatically mean that you can't go. But at the same time, hear me when I say this, at the same time, you do not attend solely to prove that no one can exclude you. We are not putting our ego on show. We are not being like, oh yeah, well, you don't want me to be there? I'm definitely coming now, because you are not going to make me feel like an outsider. We need to make sure we're going, this is about the child. We're going to center the child, your relationship with the child, and the health of your household. Not to prove a point to the other house, because I can promise you, you are not proving any point at all. I promise you. So let's talk about a few approaches that usually make the situation worse. All right? First, do not use the event to resolve any adult conflict. You might be thinking oh yeah, we're in person. We can see, the other house. Let's talk about, no, we're not doing that. Please don't do that. The school hallway is not the place to confront their mom about the custody schedule, unpaid expenses, or a message she sent 3 days ago. Okay? Not the place to do it. Save adult conversations for an appropriate time and communication method. Second, do not compete. You do not need to prove that the child is closer to you, that your relationship is better, or that you are more involved. Remember, we're not letting our ego drive the bus on this one. Support is not a competition, even when the dynamic makes it feel like one. Third, do not force closeness. I said closelessness. Closeness. You do not need a group photo if everyone is uncomfortable. Okay, let's think about if the other house was hey, Alicia, let's take a picture together. And I was no. Now, what if I was hey, let's take a picture together. And the other house was no. Okay, then we're not taking a picture together. We don't need to sit together either, because someone on social media said that healthy co-parenting looks like one giant happy family. Remember, we already dispelled that in this podcast. We're not doing that. You do not need to hug, share snacks, or perform friendship. Everyone sees through that facade. Everyone. The teachers, the principal, including the kids. Respectful distance is still respectful. Okay? Respectful distance is still respectful. Fourth, this one's really hard, so I hope that you're sitting down, or you're stopped at a red light if you're listening. Fourth, do not monitor every interaction between your partner and their ex. Okay? Do not monitor every interaction between your partner and their ex. Pay attention to meaningful patterns, but do not spend the entire event analyzing facial expressions, conversation length, who rolled their eyes, who did a deep sigh, who, lovingly touched somebody in the eye. No. Or whether, your stepkid's mom laughed slightly too hard at something your partner said. You deserve to experience the event too. Okay? So we're not going to be a behavioral analysis right now. Fifth, do not take everything to the child. Do not ask your stepchild, where should you sit? Whether their mom wants you there or not, or which adult they would rather have attend. Adults need to manage adult discomfort. The child should not be responsible for assigning everyone a place. Okay? Let the kids be kids. Let the kids be kids. So here's a simple plan you can use for the next school event. Before the event, find out who's attending, decide whether you want to go, talk with your partner about arrival, seating, interactions, and departure. Maybe you guys have a code word for departure. We definitely do. Even now we use it. Choose the specific support you need. Agree on how schedule or seating changes will be handled, and remind yourself why you are attending. During the event, offer basic courtesy without chasing connection. Hi, nice to see you. How's it going? Basic courtesy. Sit where you can feel reasonably comfortable. You're not going to be sitting there on your little throne, I love it here, this is the best place ever. But I also don't want you sitting on glass, okay? So we're going to find a place where, we can survive. All right? We might just be surviving. We're not thriving at this event, but we're surviving, okay? So sit where you can feel reasonably comfortable. Keep the focus on supporting the child. Sometimes we lose sight of that, especially when things are really, really hard. Keep the focus on supporting the child. Notice your emotions without judging yourself for having them. Notice your emotions without judging yourself for having them. If you're in this event and you're this is really freaking hard, or I hate it here, or I don't like insert whatever. Those emotions are valid. Those thoughts are valid. That's okay. You can have those and still be there. It's okay. Ask your partner for a quick check-in if needed. Avoid adult conflict and logistical negotiation unless something must be handled immediately. If you're overwhelmed, this is my favorite. If you're overwhelmed, step away briefly. Go to the bathroom. Post inside the Stepmom Side community. Get water. Take a few slow breaths. Text a trusted friend if that helps you regulate. Okay? So if you become overwhelmed, step away. Do something different. And I always say this, change your scenery. Go somewhere. Now, after the event, do not begin the debrief while everyone is still activated. So as soon as the car door closes, and let's say you and your partner are driving home together by yourselves, we are not going to be like, oh my gosh, okay, what did you think? How did it go? No, we're not going to do that. Give yourselves time to leave and settle. Then ask, what worked? What felt uncomfortable? Did we follow the plan? Did I feel supported? Is there anything we should do differently next time? Be honest without turning the conversation into a character trial. Like, let's not do that. Listen, I have done that so many times. It is not helpful. It is not helpful. The goal is not to prove that your partner failed, okay? The character trial, no, we're not doing that. Like, we're not putting your partner on the firing squad. Like, I promise you, like, it's not helpful. The goal is to make the next event healthier. Like, let's learn our lessons and not be like, you're an idiot because da-da-da-da. Like, hey, you know what? Maybe we could have done better here. Okay, next event, let's do this. All right? School events make stepmoms feel as though belonging is something another person can approve or deny. Long story short, school events make stepmoms feel as though belonging is something else or something that another person can approve or deny. So if their mom is friendly, you belong. If the extended family includes you, you belong. If your partner behaves perfectly, you belong. If the children ask you to attend, you belong. But your place in your family cannot depend entirely on everyone else making you feel comfortable every moment. Other people do have responsibilities. Your partner should support you. The adults should behave respectfully. You should not be expected to tolerate mistreatment. But belonging also means allowing yourself to take up appropriate space without constantly asking whether you've earned it. And I think this is the spiral, this is the cycle, this is the circling of the drain that so many of us get caught in. Belonging means allowing us to take up appropriate space without constantly asking whether we've earned it. Like, that's what we do. Like, we're constantly looking for the reassurance that we belong here. You can attend because you have a meaningful relationship with a child. You can sit beside your partner. You can introduce yourself. You can choose respectful distance. You can decide not to attend an event if that's unhealthy for you. You can stop auditioning. Please, for the love of God, my friend, please stop auditioning. If you need help with that, come see me one-on-one. We can get some stuff tailored specifically to you. You do not need to outperform their mom. Also, please don't do this because you look ridiculous. Your ego driving the bus. No. Have you ever, I remember, maybe you've never heard this, but our pediatrician, when my daughter was really little, when it came to eating, but literally applies to everything, do not let anything turn into a power struggle with a toddler because they will always win. Specifically with eating, I'm not putting that in my mouth, right? Now it's a power struggle. So same thing with outperforming their mom. It's honestly both of you are just showing your ass and you look dumb. Let's not do that. If she wants to be the center of attention, let everyone see her trying to be the center of attention. Don't join her. That stage is only built for one. You do not need to erase the family history that existed before you. You, might think that might be easier, but honestly, we don't need to work on erasing the history that existed before you. You don't need to pretend that the situation is easy either. This is something I hear a lot from stepmoms inside the Stepmom Side community. They're like, oh my gosh, other people get it. I feel so much better being here knowing that everyone else has experienced this too and it's not easy. No, it's not. There are going to be good times, there are going to be bad times. But it's not easy. Even if it's good, it's not easy. You need clarity about your role, support from your partner, and permission to choose what is healthiest for you and your family. So, if school events make you nervous or anxious or feel like you are going to crawl out of your skin, start with one conversation. Just one. Do not try to solve every possible situation at once. Choose the next event and ask, do I want to attend? What arrangement would feel healthiest? What do I need from my partner? So another word for this would be, or another question for this would be, what does support look like for me? What can I control? What am I willing to let go of? Remember, sitting separately does not mean that your blended family is failing. Awkwardness does not mean that you don't belong either. Feeling hurt does not mean that you're being dramatic or you're overreacting or you're creating drama. And choosing not to force a picture-perfect co-parenting relationship may be the healthiest thing everyone can do. So if you're tired of walking into these situations, feeling alone, come join us inside the Stepmom Side community. This is where stepmoms can bring the thoughts and feelings they're afraid to say out loud. The awkward school event, the partner who acts differently, the ex who ignores you, or the shame that comes along with wondering why it bothers you so much. Oh my gosh, how many times have you spiraled about that? Because same. You'll be surrounded by other stepmoms who understand that these situations are rarely as simple as just focus on the kids. Of course you care about the kids, but you also deserve support while navigating everything happening around them. So you can learn more and join us at aliciacrasco.com/the community. I've been saving you a seat and I'm ready for you to come and join us. And if another stepmom needs to hear this before the next school concert, please send her this episode. I will chat with you next week.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this week's episode. If anything was helpful or resonated with you, please share it on social media and tag me. I'm just at Alicia Crasco. And if you could leave a 5-star rating and a review while you're at it, that would also be really helpful. And if you find yourself struggling with your stepmom journey and you want a little bit more support without the hefty price tag of coaching, you might want to check out the Stepmom Side community, which is my own private community for stepmoms, where you get to connect with other stepmoms around the world and myself, where I hold weekly office hours and monthly group coaching. It's kind of like you have your own personal coach in your own back pocket. Again, without that hefty price tag. See you next week.